Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, we all know what's been going on in the Middle East. Israel, as well as Iran and Lebanon, all these countries, and the Middle East has been at war forever. Let's face it. So I thought I might look at some of the important charts that could tell us more about where this is going and what this is. Well, I'm not even going to pretend to say I know what it's about because it goes back so far historically. But the fact that Iran and the Middle East are opposed to Western culture is something that I think is part of it. So we're going to look at some charts and I'm going to make some sense of this, but most of all, something that I saw was a bit disturbing and I want to get to that. So with that, I think, well, first of all, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Get all of my predictions delivered to your email address. Go to galacticcenter.org and you will get them every week free. On top of that, while you're at my website, check out my Patreon page. This is where you can become part of our spiritual community and you will get me live and videos that are private, cannot be put anywhere else. So you're going to get information out of me I can't give otherwise. So go to my galacticcenter.org and click on my Patreon. You're going to see all the advantages you will get with that. Also, remember my galactic planner. If you want to have an astrologer every day, look at your chart, that's what you get with the galactic planner. So go to galacticplanner.com and sign up. You will get every month predictions, and those predictions from your personal chart are delivered into your phone, so that it's in your calendar, so you can be prepared every day. Check it out. It is amazing. You will love it. All right. And last but not least, if you want to study with me, I have an online university, self-paced. You can start anytime. Go to universityofvedicastrology.com. All right. I want to share with you what I found and why I think there is something a bit disturbing that I'm seeing in one of these charts. So let me scoot over here so we can look at the charts together. All right, so the first chart I want to put up is Benjamin Netanyahu, the leader of Israel. So looking at his chart, back a year ago when October 7th, the nightmare happened there in his country, we had K2 crossing over his moon. His moon sits there in Virgo and he has moon conjunct K2. It's like there's this deepness, and that's a difficult placement. Emotionally, there's this deepness and otherworldliness, and he has a great intuition, and he's a great leader, okay? So, but transiting K2 and all the eclipses have been occurring in Virgo and Pisces. So you can see where all this trouble is going on for him throughout the year of 2024. Now, his Mercury sits at 16 degrees of Virgo, and the eclipse October 2nd just occurred at 15 degrees of Virgo. So he's having a lot of issues. K2, it's a K2 eclipse. Eclipses are monumental in terms of the change that they bring. And looking at Netanyahu's chart, which he has a Scorpio rising, I mean to tell you, there is so much going on because Mercury rules his 8th house, which deals with death. And I don't think it's his death, although he is in danger, needless to say, during this time. Now, if his birth chart is correct, his time of birth, which it probably is, because we have the time at 10:16. I mean, that's specific. His ascendant sits at 17 degrees of Scorpio, and by next January and February, Jupiter is going to station at 17 degrees of Taurus in his 7th house, meaning he will get help from an opponent because it is aspecting his ascendant exactly. Not only that, it's standing still, aspecting his ascendant, which is of great help to him. Yes, so these eclipses, he is really struggling. It's been a really terrible year for him. Now, let's pull up the chart of, let's first look at Israel's chart as well. Now, when I look at Israel's chart, the moon sits at 11 degrees of Cancer. And why is that so meaningful? Is that Mars is going to station at that degree in December. That exact degree. And Mars is violence and war. So this Mars retrograde is going to inflict major, major pain and damage onto Israel. Yes. And Netanyahu's chart says that things are very difficult for him at that time too, with the eclipse that just is affecting his Mercury, which rules the 8th house in his chart. But Israel actually has its natal Mercury at 17 degrees of Taurus in the 8th house, which tells me that Jupiter is going to station on that Mercury. So likewise, where I'm looking at it affecting Netanyahu, Jupiter will be on Mercury. So something good should finally come about by January, February for Israel. But all hell's going to break loose in December. Now, let us go now to Iran. And I'm not pulling up Lebanon because I don't have their chart. And I do have Iran's chart. And I have Ali Khamenei, which is their supreme leader. I have his birth date, but not his time. So we're going to be looking at a couple of things here. So looking at Iran, Iran's moon sits at 13 degrees of Pisces, right where Rahu is during all of this calamity in October, September, October. And the eclipse is aspecting this moon. Very, very sensitive point. And Jupiter does sit at 9 degrees of Cancer, where Mars is going to be stationing at 11 degrees of Cancer. And if you will note, it will be aspecting the Sun, Mars, Mercury in Capricorn. But most specifically, natal Mercury is opposed that Mars station, because Mars will station at 11, almost 12 degrees of Cancer, and look at Mercury at 12 degrees of Capricorn. So Iran is being pulled into this. Iran is big time. What do I mean? It's in it, and it is under siege, I think, attack, with Mars being on Jupiter and aspecting Mercury. But the thing that bothers me the very most about this chart for Iran is that Pluto sits at 25 degrees of Virgo. Why is that significant? Because in the United States chart, Saturn sits at 24 degrees of Virgo. In the 10th house. Their Pluto on Saturn is very detrimental to the United States. Our Saturn on Pluto is detrimental to them as well. So So let us now go to Ali Khomeini's chart. This is what bothers me the most. Looking at, now we don't have his time, but the whole day, let me remind you, the planet's degree, except for the moon, will remain the same. So his Mars sits definitely at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. And the reason why I find this troublesome is that the United States Sun sits at 22 degrees of Gemini in the United States chart. So Mars in his chart is exactly opposed it, and Mars is anger and violence and attacks. So this could be the attack on America or even the American president. The other thing that I find troubling is his Mercury sits at 12 degrees of Pisces, which actually sits on the moon for his country's chart. Remember how I said that leaders always have a connection to their country's charts. But it is also connected to Netanyahu's. His Mercury sits at 16 Virgo, while it's opposing the Mercury in this chart at 12-13 Pisces. So Khomeini is enraged. He will attack or he will be attacked. But this brings out that the United States is involved big time. And it involves the United States leader, because the sun sits at 22 degrees of Gemini, and Khomeini's Mars sits at 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So let me just say, last but not least, now most people say it's not possible, and hopefully this is true, but Pluto does rule nuclear war. It was discovered, Pluto was discovered when atomic energy was discovered, and it rules that. The thing that is a remote possibility that looks damaging is that Pluto sits on the Saturn in the United States chart. Maybe it's just that this is going to come to a head and an end. Pluto is major transformation. I just hope that remote possibility of nuclear is out of the picture. But it has to be considered looking at the astrology. So with that, with the astrology, let me just say this. This gives us warning. This gives us clarity of what we need to prevent, what we need to be aware of. And these timing of January, February is what we need to look at. So the timing, and I hope people that are our defense know this and use the power of astrology to help prevent chaos and destruction in this world. So with that, I think I'll close. If you would like more information about me, you can always go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. While there, sign up for my free newsletter, my Patreon page, and remember galacticplanner.com. Get your chart analyzed every day. And if you want to become my student, go to my university, University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.